Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dalorrian Show, the podcast where we talk about video games and video game news, and then just life in general. And my life's been kind of weird lately because I've been getting knee deep in the world of AI, and not like, you know, just texting ChatGPT all of my problems and stuff, but I have two PCs. Let's just start there. I have a PC that is next to me here, and I run my streams through it and game on it and do all of my work on it for like YouTube and various other projects, right? Video editing, all sorts of stuff like that, right? Recording this podcast is on this PC. So it's kind of a beast. Hey, I remember when I was putting this PC together, I was buying this PC, I was like, this is pricey, man. And I don't know, like, is it going to be worth it? It was worth it. With how the prices are going with PCs, it's like everything. Like, oh, I should have bought a car 5 years ago. I should have bought a house 5 years ago. I should have bought a PC 5 years ago. You know, like I've always been kind of like, I've always tried to be like a proud minimalist as much as I can, you know. Like when I start getting too much stuff, I get a little weird. I gotta burn it down. I've collected too much shit, you know. But it turns out the best way to live may be to hoard everything. Like maybe that's why the boomers won out, man. Like maybe because they're like, we're just gonna buy everything we don't need and hoard it, and it'll become valuable eventually. Because everything will become scarce. I don't know. Maybe that probably works out on a couple things, and then on a lot of things that probably does not work out. But anyway, so that's one PC, right? And then I have another PC that I've had in the garage, and then I'll have it like, you know, I've had it out there like mining crypto before. I've had it out there doing some other gaming stuff for me while I sleep, is all I'll say. And for a long time, it's just sat. For several months, it's just sat out there. And so I have been seeing, and because I'm the target demographic for this on social media and everywhere, I've been seeing everything about OpenClaw this, OpenClaw that, Claude, Anthropic, OpenClaw this. Dude, you got to get OpenClaw. OpenClaw is blowing my mind. And it's just all the same kind of language that you have heard with NFTs, cryptocurrency, meme stocks, everything. It's the same thing. You know, it's the same dudes on social media be like, this is changing my life. This is what you got to do. Here's my tutorial on how to do it. And you know me, I'm a sucker, but so the sucker move would have been to buy a Mac Mini, right? So you can get a Mac Mini for like $400 to $600 or something. And apparently Mac Minis are very good for running OpenClaw locally. And we'll kind of talk about what OpenClaw is to the best of my freaking ability. And like it's pretty efficient, right? It can run it. It's efficient. It's quiet. It doesn't take up any space. The M4 processor is really good for everything. And so I was like, do I drop $600 on a Mac Mini and do this just to see what the hype is about and see how stupid this is? Or do I just go get my old PC out of the garage, which I know can handle it, and do it that way? So that's what I did. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me take a couple hours and get my old PC out, and let me just set up this AI bot locally on my system. Because that's essentially what OpenClaw is. It's essentially like you install this program on your computer that gives you a browser gateway that you can chat with in the browser. And what it does, like when you're chatting with it, it's calling a model of your choice. So you can call Claude, you can call Gemini, you can call ChatGPT, and you can call every model of those large language models. You can choose any one of them to call out to. And what the YouTubers and TikTokers never talk about is like how expensive it can be. to make API calls out. A lot of calls out to these models to get directions on like what to actually do. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But basically, so you pick a model, and then you can pick a way to message it. So you can do like, I can WhatsApp, you can do iMessage, you can do Discord. I use Discord. I already have Discord, and I was like, okay, I'll message my bot, my local bot, through Discord. And so when you install this thing, it has all of your workspace files local to your computer. It has a gateway that you can ping essentially, and then it calls a model. And like the idea of it that's supposed to be good is that it has a memory. It has files that it reads. And so it has like a persistent memory, and then it has access and skills and tools that you can set up and run. Or you can install like skills and tools to it, set up API keys, all this shit, so that it has access to your computer. So imagine just like if I had an elevator pitch you this, you give ChatGPT your computer and you say, go do stuff on my computer. That's the pitch. That's the thing. Now, in my experience, it has been tedious and frustrating. Because on the one hand, it works pretty good. On the other hand, it's really expensive. And if you don't have like ideas about like what you want your AI bot to do, then it's pointless. You know, I have things that I have things that I have it doing. And I had some ideas like, this is some stuff that I could have it do. But again, it's like it's kind of expensive, so it's like exciting at first until you realize how expensive that it is. And I'll give you two examples of what I did. So I installed it, got it set up, started chatting with it in the browser, hooked up the Discord, and then with the Discord, what's frustrating is like you have different sessions of the chat that you're talking to, like to this program. And my Discord session is disconnected from the actual session, if that makes sense, like from the actual machine. It's like its own session. So what does that mean? It has session memory. It has like the ChatGPT conversation, like because that's the model I'm using. I pay for that right now. That may change. I may start paying for Claude or something. I don't know. But that's the one I use. And so when I'm talking to Discord, my bot, you set up a bot, you start talking to it, and you talk to like ChatGPT, and it'll be like, okay, bot, go do this thing. And it's like, I can't do that. And it's like, well, what the hell? Why can't you do that? And then you go to your computer and you chat, it's like, go do this thing. And it's like, okay, yeah, I got it. And so like you have to like make sure that your Discord bot is reading the playbooks and its soul and its memory and it's like all these files. It has to read these files to know what to do. And like once it knows what to do, then it can go on your computer and try to do it. But what it likes to do is it likes to say like, yeah, I'm on it. I'm going to go do it right now. And then it ain't doing shit. And then you got to figure that out. Now, this could be a me problem. And if I was doing WhatsApp or iMessage, maybe this would like be very different. But I have a funny feeling that that's not the case. Now, setting up OpenClaw is free. So I will say that like whenever there's a paid version of this, that will be kind of scary. Like I will say this. I have seen enough. I've seen enough that I need to see with this experience to say, oh, this is what's going to replace somebody's job. This, when you plug in a large language model into a system and give it control of your computer, now I see how you're going to take over jobs. Absolutely. And now I see how there's going to be a guy at the company who just runs the bots, who just mechanics the bots. Like, hey, this bot was trying to call these people or set these calendars or some bullshit or whatever, right? Like we don't know yet what they're going to efficiently do. They will probably like at first they'll do human tasks and they'll be like, this is stupid. Why? Like, and then we'll all figure out like, why are we doing these stupid human tasks? Let's do something else, right? And then it'll evolve. But at first they'll be like, hey, you're doing the human task and it's going to mess up. CEO's gonna be like, hey, where's our AI guy? Hey man, my bot's fucking up. Okay, let me go fix your bot. And that's the new job. It's not going to be like, oh, get the developer to go fix it. You're probably going to want to have a developer or two there, to read some things. And we're not going to talk about this, but in Amazon, like Amazon has had like lower level engineers using AI and they've fucked up their whole system. And now only senior engineers can like use AI and they have to read it first and all this kind of stuff. So like, yeah, of course, right? Of course that's going to happen. This shit's not infallible. It gets you there like 75, 80%, and then you do have to have some knowledge. Like the only reason I can run and work on OpenClaw is because I have some technical chops. I couldn't give OpenClaw, I couldn't sit down and be like, all right, to my wife and be like, hey, I installed OpenClaw for you. Go figure it out. It ain't going to happen, bro. It ain't going to fucking happen, bro. It take months. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I'm not saying like, oh, I'm really good at tech. I'm just saying that, like, unless you're living it, it's whatever. Now, there will, again, one day there will be a paid version that companies will buy, and it'll be like limited in scope. And then you'll have somebody like my wife or like a normie that can be like, oh, I'll just go tell it to do this, and then it'll just go do it. And then, okay, I fixed it. You know, something like that, right? It'll be lighter weight, less critical, something like that. Excuse me. Still have this stupid cough after like 3 or 4 weeks. Anywho, so I had a couple jobs, right? So we're potentially like, we're kicking around the idea of like potentially moving and stuff, and we may move, and I'm not going to say where or whatever, but like we may move locally, we may move somewhere else. I don't know. We've been looking at different houses for a while, like a couple years. So I said, hey, go find me houses to buy and rent within this range, within a mile range of this, with a rating of like schools and all this stuff, and then build me a list of like this neighborhood and this neighborhood of like the top 3 with links to them. And I set up a job like, you know, where I can just say, hey, send me the list, and it'll be on my computer. It'll open up browsers and start farming through the browsers and curate a list and send it back to me. So instead of me like going to like realtor.com, apartments.com, Zillow, and like looking up and like doing my filter and then finding like a thing, okay, it has a pool. Does it accept big pets? How many miles is it from this school? How many miles is it from this office? It does all of that pretty quickly. And I will say, based on my checking of it, it was pretty accurate. Now, when I first started doing that, I was using the top ChatGPT models, like 5.4 or something. So the cream of the crop. And boy, it was working like a charm. And I did it for like a day and a half, and I was like, oh, I've spent like $15. Just doing like a couple of these searches. So I got to chill the fuck out. So basically, to get this thing freaking affordable, because again, it's always on, like your PC's always on. So that's like a drain. And then, and especially if you have jobs that you want to do like automate, then like you're going to hit your API limits. If you hit your API limits, ChatGPT is going to be like, it's not going to respond. It's going to be like, instead of going and doing its automated tasks that it's supposed to do for you, it's just going to be like API limits reached. And then you'll be on your Discord like, hey, how's it going? Why didn't you send me the stuff? And it'll be like, I don't know. Let me get on that. And it's like, oh, I don't know. It's just, you know, stuff's just messed up. I don't know. Then you go to your computer and you figure out, oh, well, let's air it out. It needs an update, blah, blah, blah. So you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's getting there, but it's not there. And it's still it's still a huge pain in the ass. Now, some people, you know, maybe the Mac Mini is better. Maybe I'm using the wrong model. Maybe there's cheaper. Maybe I could be using Copilot and it'd be easier. I don't know, bro. I'm just doing what I'm doing right now. So now I have it using like the ChatGPT Mini, right? That's like cheaper to make API calls. But still, like doing something like that would still like doing like, hey, go find these houses like I'm telling it to do. That'd probably I bet that'd run me like 20, 30 cents per time. So it ain't even on the lower model. And the lower model is not as smart and is more prone to make mistakes or hallucinate and make shit up. Another thing that I was doing was like, hey, you know, like go to LinkedIn and find jobs like this. And then when you find the job, run it by me, let me look at it. And if I approve, go look at my resume that I gave you, update it based on the listing, and then go apply for the job for me. And look, and listen, it can do all that. It can do all that. But again, a little expensive. And there's a lot of hiccups that it can run into. You know, like there's different ways to interact with like the browsers and these sites like might have captchas or some shit. And it's like, I can't do a captcha, you know. They'll be like, I've been blocked, you know, or I have to do it another way. And then you like, what ends up happening is like, you just like, you know, like, okay, how do I figure this out? And then hopefully you get like a pretty good automation stream going, but it's like you're going to have to fiddle with it. But it can do it. And like I will say this, like, and there are more efficient ways to do what I'm saying. So like, for instance, it would be cheaper for me. Like I could make like a feed potentially. Like, so like, let's say I wanted to go on X and I wanted to like look at all the top things that are going on, like gaming news or movie news or something. And I wanted my bot to recommend me like topics to talk about on X. Sure, that's reasonable because I'm not on X. I look at X, you know, I'm like, I see some stuff, but like, which one's the most like everyone's really talking about? What's the most viral? What, like, you know, you could kind of go into like the social marketing part of it. And instead of like letting it log into X and do all that shit and then dump you something out that's more expensive, what you can do is you can script something on your computer with like Windows Task Scheduler. Or for like Windows, you can task out a script that like makes a file, like a local file of like RSS feeds and stuff that like based on your criteria. And then you can say, go read this file and then tell me, rather than going through the browser and stuff. And then that saves you a lot of money. You know, like if you say like, you go post it, it'll go post it. It'll be like, you log in your X, like it'll find it and be like, this is what I want to say. I'll go post it. Now, the older ChatGPT models are not as good. Again, like they don't follow instructions as well. It's not as good. If you're using like 5.4, it's pretty fucking good. It's pretty good. But your wallet better be big. But here's the thing. Even if you said, I want OpenClaw to be like my social media, I want OpenClaw to run my social media. It could do it. You're going to have to mechanic it. You're going to have to tweak it. You're going to have to spend some time on it. It will break from time to time, but it can do it. And even though it's expensive, it is still probably cheaper than like hiring someone from India on Upwork or Fiverr to do it for you. And it's more reliable and it's always there at your fingertips. Like it works when you work. It responds 24/7. So all that to say, man, I get it. So for me, like I don't know how I'm going to use it. Like we're going out of town for like a couple weeks at the end of March. I don't know what I'm going to do about podcast episodes yet. I might just like record some extra or something and put it up, or I might just be gone for 2 weeks. I don't know. I'm going to be on TikTok and I'm going to still be streaming, but you know, probably no camera, maybe mic. I don't know. I'll still be present, but you know, the late night show, we're not going to do that for a week or two while we're gone. We're not going to do podcasts probably for a week or two while we're gone, and then we'll hit it hard back when we get back, right? Because these podcasts are like based on what we're talking about now. And you know, honestly, like I follow different podcasts, and what they do is like they'll have a podcast, and then when they're out of town, they'll throw like another podcast that's like not relevant or stale or from like another thing, like an old interview or something. And that always just pisses me off. I mean, not like it doesn't piss me off. I'm just like, I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to this. That's just me. Maybe that's, you know, maybe everybody else is like, no, I just need something. But for me, it's like, I would rather give you nothing rather than giving you something that's irrelevant. And we just wait it out for a week or two. We'll see though. We'll see. But yeah, like while I'm away for a week and a half, I don't think I'm going to have it all. I don't think there's going to be anything that I need it to do, you know, like, so I'm not going to be like running and automating anything. So I think I'm just going to have it off. But, you know, it's time consuming, man. I'll say that it's time consuming, but this is your report. Like if you have been fed like, bro, OpenClaw, get the Mac Mini, dude. Oh my God, it's going to change how you do everything. It's going to check your emails and stuff. Like, yeah, it can do all that. Yeah, I mean, they're not wrong. It can do it. But if you're not willing to spend like $30, $40 a month, or if you don't want to get like the professional grade ChatGPT that's like business level, $60 a month for 2 licenses. I mean, like if you're not willing to do that, then it really degrades in the quality. You know, like I would say, like I'm running, like I said, I'm kind of running it on GPT-4 mini, just because like if I give it a task, it costs me a few cents rather than like a couple dollars. Then I'm like, okay, cool. But then you can just tell that GPT-4 is just dumber. Like it just doesn't know how to direct the rest of the system and read your files, and it doesn't really conceptually follow through as well as the later models. So we just ain't there yet. But I mean, we're close. But too, it's like, you know, does this stuff get cheaper, or like that's something I don't know, is like the credits, right? Like these credits to make these call outs to do all of this. Is it cheap right now and it's going to get way more expensive, or is it expensive right now and it's going to get cheaper? And I don't know the answer to that. Like once we have all the chips deployed and our whole country is just like servers, will it be like so much cheaper to automate? Is it just an infrastructure problem? And like we have to eat the cost on the hardware right now, and then it's going to be cheaper for the credits? Or more likely, are we eating shit on hardware and then we're going to eat shit on automation as well, and then everybody's just going to be poor for it? That's probably what's going to happen. Like these things don't really work out for the people very often. They'll spin it like, well, your life's better because of X, and it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe, probably, but I can't afford food. It's like, we don't need food. You need automation. You need to automate your food. Automate your food. That's the new slogan from OpenAI. ChatGPT, OpenAI, automate your food. Copilot, automate your food. Anyway, man, you know, every couple of years this shit happens. You know, it's like a new thing. And then like after I saw a post of somebody on X that was like, you know, what's after AI? And you don't know that, but it is kind of fun to think about, because whenever we were all in like the cryptocurrency and the NFT craze, it was like, what's after this? We didn't really know AI was after this. I mean, people kind of conceptually thought maybe something like, so I remember like hearing people talk about conceptually some things that you would be able to do, but like they didn't understand how. And then like AI is like kind of solving the problem. Like AI is proving them right, but they didn't know how they were going to be right. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy. But yeah, so you know, I don't know. Like how do I feel about AI? Am I excited about it? Am I worried about it? I don't think I'm worried about it. I don't, you know, a lot of people say like, man, it's gonna like die out. And I mean, and true, like it won't be like it won't be the crazy topic that it is right now. It won't be a scare tactic because like turn around in 2 years, we'll all just be used to it, you know? Like for a couple of years, everybody freaked out over Google. For a couple of years, everybody freaked out over YouTube. For a couple of years, everybody freaked out over Facebook and social media. For a couple of years, everybody freaked out over cryptocurrency and NFT. And then it's just kind of commonplace and it's diluted and everybody's in and the money's already been made or burned or whatever. And then it all shakes out. AI is different because I think it's a little different because it is useful, but it's really only useful to like corporations and businesses. Like truly. Which in a capitalistic society, that's how technology advances, because the corporations push it to be advanced for their gains, and then the people may get a benefit, or they may get a what's the opposite of benefit? Why can't I think right now? A detriment, we'll say. And they don't care because like they just like, we gotta like, you know, they all got like guns pointing at each other. You know, every company's like, if I don't AI automate right now, I'm gonna fall behind them, I'm gonna lose them, the whole company's gonna go down, and I gotta fucking, you know, it's like we're all just like, it's all anxiety driven, panic fueled craziness, and you don't even understand it, and you just are thrust in it, and you spend your whole company's money, and it's like, well, we're the best at AI, but it's like, yeah, but is your product even good? And it's like, I don't know. So yeah, I think though that AI will continue to iterate, but I think it'll just be common, and I don't think people will hype about it anymore as much as they do right now, because it'll just be like, oh yeah, that stuff's just growing and changing. But I don't know if I foresee any big leaps. Like, I don't think there's going to be big leaps. I think it'll just kind of change. Like, I see a lot of people that, oh, we're going to have super intelligence, and it's going to like become sentient, and we have to hire therapists because it's anxious, and which is what they're saying with like Claude or whatever the hell. And it's like, I don't like. I think that's really good marketing. I think those are really, really good marketing tactics to say that, to get people to pay attention to your brand of AI. But I don't know if it's like meaningful. You know, a lot of what you're seeing with AI is just marketing to get people to adopt it. And it's like stories of like, this AI is alive. This AI drove a car into a tree. This AI saved this person's life. This AI killed this person. This AI told somebody to kill themselves. Whenever I go to the Wendy's, it's an AI bot. It's not a person. Like, this is all like marketing stuff, and that's going to dry up once it's more common. We're talking a lot about AI. You're probably sick of hearing about AI, dude. Dude, you're probably sick about hearing about AI because you hear about it on every other stupid podcast you listen to. So I apologize. But I wanted to talk about it because that's just what I've been doing. And on my PC, I had to replace a fan. I had a fan that was so loud. I have never replaced the fan on the PC. Like, I've had that PC for the PC it's running on. I think I've had that PC probably for like, I don't know, maybe like 10 years. Maybe 10 years, and I've updated the video card, but then the CPU is bottlenecking it pretty hard, and I can't really replace the CPU because I'd have to replace the motherboard, and then I would have to get a new case. So it's like, there's some good parts in it, but it's almost like, I'm just going to let it be what it is. It's powerful enough. It'll last a while. I can run like World of Warcraft at like max settings on it, and it's fine, you know, and that'll probably be the case for a while. So, you know, even though I've kind of hit the top end of like what I can do with it, I don't really have any interest in like taking the parts of it. Now, but with RAM cost, hell, I don't know, maybe I'm sitting on a gold mine and I don't know it. Let's talk about games. I've only really played one game since last week, and it is Resident Evil Requiem. And this is a game that I've been seeing pop up a lot on social media. I usually do not care about Resident Evil games that come out. Like, when I think about everything that's come out since 5, it's like Resident Evil 6. It was like, I don't even remember what that was. 7, I don't really remember. And then it was like 8, and it was like The Village or something. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. Then there was like a VR one. Then there was the one with the lady with the big boobs, and that was kind of memeable. And like, okay, I'm aware of what that is because of boobs. And then now this one is like a return to like Resident Evil 4 and 2, kind of, which is like the Leon ones. Where you play as Grace Ashcroft, and she's like your scared, weak, scared girl part of this game. It's more horrific. You play as her, like, the game wants you to play first person as her. You do not have to play first person as her. You can change it to third person. But when you're playing her story, it is like a scary game. You go through tight spaces, you can't see shit, and there's like jump scares. That's it. I mean, like that's kind of what her story is at first. Now, I haven't played this game as much as I wanted, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit more. But that's kind of her deal. Leon is also in the game, and his deal is, oh, this is the classic Resident Evil shooter where I have to kill zombies with guns and punch them and chainsaw them and whatever, and beat the bad guys, right? Manage my inventory, manage my ammo, and like you kind of start like when you play as Leon, you're like, oh, okay, we're back. Okay, we're back at it. And then with Grace, it's a little bit more, ooh, you know, I'm just I can't run fast, but I have to run, you know. And so that's kind of the way that it is. But then what you kind of start to find out, and this isn't, I don't feel like this is too much of a spoiler, but like what's kind of happening, and this is very interesting to me, is that with Grace, like they're gonna like open her up to be like you start off like kind of in horrific scenes, and I think you'll continue to have like some horrific scenes with her that are bad and scary in first person, but they're kind of giving you more of inventory management and clues and things like that are kind of more like old school Resident Evil, where there's like more action. So I think they're going to develop to like in this game to like, give her more action things to do, and I'm kind of feeling that, and I'm kind of okay with that, because Leon is just like, you start playing as him and he's just kind of a badass, you know. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to play as Leon. I ain't scared of shit when I'm Leon, kind of thing. But when you're with Grace, you're like, she can't do shit. I'm gonna die. This is horrible. You know, what am I gonna do? And so there's gonna be kind of a turn there, which is quite interesting. And so I'm excited to see what they do. And, you know, like the big thing that makes this game work is it looks so good graphically. It looks so good, man. Like it is, it's packaged, and it look like, and like the path tracing and all that stuff is, I've been playing on PC, by the way, on Steam, and it is hard. It's a little hard on your PC. But even at like, if you're in like 1080p even, it looks really good. The lighting is really good. Now it's like you're playing a good looking game, but like, to be fair, it is a little claustrophobic at times. Like you're on tight streets, you're in small hallways, you know, are in small rooms, so you can ratchet up the graphics a lot because there ain't a lot going on. Now, what I noticed in my playthrough, beginning of my playthrough, is like once you start encountering more zombies and there's more sprites, so to speak, and there's more models in the game that are loaded in that have movement and scripts and things like that, then the game's a little like, I'm having a harder time generating some of these frames, dog. But yeah, so I was streaming last night, and I was playing through the game, and I was kind of opening it up a little bit. And when I started the game, I was like 100 plus frames, easy, going just fine. And then like as I was getting a little bit further, I was like, my game is chugging, dude. And it was dropping to like 30 frames per second, and I was like having to like run and do stuff quickly, and it was chugging, and I was like, what is going on? This thing is like crashing out on me. So I stopped, right? Like, it was like mid game, and I got in a corner where I was safe, and I was like, let me just look at the options. And I was live streaming this, and people were watching. We were having a good time. And I went to the menus, and I was like kind of tweaking some stuff. I was like, okay, whatever. And I saw frame generation was turned on. And I was like, let me turn that off. And when I clicked it to turn off, the whole thing froze. It was dead in the water. It was dead in the water. Didn't save it, didn't anything. Just switching it on off in the menu without committing the save or anything. It just died on me. I don't know if it was trying to update like a config file or something, but dead. DED, dead. Resident Evil, dead. So then I was like, all right, whatever. You know, I was bummed because like the way this game works is you have save points, and there is some auto saving. And actually, remind me of this. Text me if you're listening now, whatever. Like, there is some auto saving, and I need to look into that and increase the shit out of that. But the way, like, I'm still early in the game, it's like you save it, like in Resident Evil games, you save at typewriters, right? And I was like out, I wasn't out, but I was like pretty far away from my last typewriter. And it's like, oh, I crashed the game, that sucks. But also, oh shit, I'm gonna have to replay a lot of stuff. So that bummed me out. Then for the next hour and a half, I was trying to get this game to turn back on. So turning it back on, it would just immediately crash. They give an error, and then it would like boot up this crash report system where it automatically sends a message to Capcom and gives you a number. And it's like, if you want to reach out to the support, here's the number to reference. I was like, I don't want to do that. And just trying to kill the crash report, like, it would take a long time just to like end that task if you didn't want to do it. It kind of forced you to do it. And so, you know, I'm streaming. I'm like, man, sorry guys, this sucks. I can't turn it back on. So I'm like, I'm going to Steam. I'm trying to like verify game files, and then I'm like, should I like refund this and get it on Xbox? So maybe it's Xbox, you know, cross save to PC. Then I found out it's not available for Xbox PC, so I can't like play it on my Xbox, take my save, come to PC. And I was like, ah, shit. So I was like, I have to play it on Steam if I'm going to play it on PC, which I want to do. And then I was like, okay, let me update my drivers. And then I updated my drivers, and then it still crashed. And then it was like, I started researching, like while we were streaming, I was researching like, okay, people are like, delete this file. It was happening everywhere. Everybody's having this problem with the latest update to Requiem. And so people were like, delete this file. People were like, install this mod. And so I'm kind of doing some of this stuff, and I'm like, it's just not working. I'm running as administrator. Nothing is working. I restart my computer. It boots up. I close it. I restart my stream. Try to boot it up again. It crashes. At this point, I'm like, I'm over it, dude. Like, and I wasn't mad. Like, just to be fair, I wasn't like mad about it. I was bummed by it because Crimson Desert comes out next week, and I'm not rushing this game, but I would like to be done with the game. I would like to like beat the game. You know, the first playthrough, I would like to get to the end of before Crimson Desert comes out. Just, and not because like, oh, I gotta stream Crimson Desert day one, or like nobody will see me on camera. Like, no, or stream, or like, no, none of that shit. I don't care about that. It's just like, you know, I wanna be able to make time for Crimson Desert. And like, if I start playing Crimson Desert, I get tempted to do that, and Resident Evil's not finished, like, then I'll be tempted not to finish Resident Evil, and it's a great game, and I want to finish it. But, you know, the game feels pretty nice. Like, it looks really nice. It's just crashing out on me. And I was like, man, you know, like, I had to kind of defend the console people for a minute. I was like, look, man, you don't have this on console. Yeah, you don't have as many options of like graphics and stuff, but like, you ain't ever got to worry about this shit. Researching and tooling for like an hour and a half. It's like, yeah, my game will look better, but it does come with a cost. But yeah, it's a tense game, you know. It's like, it's not hard. Like, the puzzles are not hard. I've read that there's like a puzzle at the end of the game that's really hard, and I guess it's optional. I don't know if it's optional. We'll see. We'll figure that out on our own. But so far, like, there's nothing in the game where I'm like, ooh, what do I do? You know, it's like a classic Resident Evil game where it's like, you need this coin to put in this door to get to the next part. It's like, you walk up to a door. It's like, you can't get through here. You need this. And it's like, okay, well, let me go get this thing. Well, you can't get this thing. You need this other thing. So then get that thing and then do the other thing. And, you know, it's like, and then they try to kill you in between, right? So yeah, man, like that's kind of the loop of the game. And, you know, it's a dark game, right? Like, it's very uncomfortable how dark it is. And you're just like, you know, you can't see shit. And so you're just always worried something's going to kill you in the dark. When you play with Grace, so, you know, when you're Leon, it's like, I just got to reload so I can kill these zombies and crush their heads. And, you know, it's actually pretty fun. It's not really like, oh, I'm going to die. And even if you did die as Leon, that's okay, because you die in really fun and cool ways. You know, you get your head chainsaw off or something. And I did die. I did lose my head at one point, I will say, trying to figure out a game mechanic. But if you want to see that, that's that's on the Backstage channel. So this is probably a good time to let everybody know, like, I've split my YouTube channel a little bit because I feel like that my YouTube channel doesn't know what to do with my content. Like, the algorithm doesn't know what to do, right? I have the podcast on there, the late night show, gaming reactions, and then I'm also just dumping like these long streams of games, these full playthroughs. And if I had like a bigger following, probably it wouldn't matter. Everybody be coming into the same place, they find it, whatever. But I feel like it's not really serving or reaching new people. And again, if it doesn't, that's fine. Like, it's nothing into the world. But I said it probably would be cleaner to have a dedicated place for podcasts and the late night show and like our reaction streams to trailers and gaming events in one channel, to be very focused on that. And then on the other channel, I have all my WoW playthroughs, all my video game playthroughs and things like that. So that's all updated on Discord, and I think it's updated on socials. I need to like recheck and make sure. But if you go to my main YouTube, youtube.com at Dalorrian TV, you will see the link to Dalorrian Backstage, is what I'm calling it. And that Backstage channel is going to have the playthrough of Resident Evil, so you can see that. The first episode was part of the late night show, so I'm playing it and I have like laugh tracks and cheering and clapping and rim shots and funny stuff like that. But on the rest of the playthrough, I'm just going to be playing it straight, without the extra fun bells and whistles. But yeah, you know, I really like Grace's setup. We all know about Leon already. He's going to play that role that he plays, where he's, you know, the zombie badass not the zombie badass. Like he's trying to figure out the mystery, and he's going to be kind of like your strong guy, one-liner, macho-ish hero. And Grace is the one that's going to have some development. And, you know, with her, it's not woke at all. It's not like she is not like powerful. I think she'll get stronger and more confident, and I think that makes a lot of sense. But when, like, as you're playing with her, you're like, I am dead. I'm dead. There's no way I'm gonna survive this shit. You know, like I'm a scared little girl, and she plays that role perfectly. And yeah, so I think that she'll become kind of a Resident Evil badass. But there's a really, like, she's not doing anything stupid like a lot of games do, where like out of the gate you have this, you know, 110-pound girl, 100-pound girl that's like, you know, karate chopping zombies and like, I'm a girl badass. Like, no, she's scared for her life. She's freaking the shit out. She's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She's weak. She doesn't, like, you know, she can't do anything. She can't run fast. Like, it's very scary. It's very scary. And it's not even about like gender or like girls are stronger than guys and guys stronger than girls. Also, it's just, it's kind of believable, and it really sets up the limitations of the characters. So you know how to like use their tool set, and you know, like, you have to like use your brain a little bit more when you're doing it. Now, Leon, like I said, you just beat shit up a lot, which is fun, right? You want some, I mean, like for me to come in and play a horror game, I don't play horror games. I don't really love horror games. Like, maybe I'll play more in the future if they're like a tight, you know, small experience, a few hours long. This game is perfect for me, like, where give me some horror, but then give me a break and let me do some action, and then take me back to do some horror. Like, that is perfect for me. That gives me really good drive and continuity. I can take the horror in chunks, but if it's like just a girl going into a mansion and it's 10 hours of jump scares, I just don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to do that. Like, so I love this game. I mean, I really love this game, and the rest of the world loves this game. This is the fastest selling Resident Evil. It's getting a lot of hype, and our first news segment here. I haven't really played any other games, by the way. I think I already said that. But they came out and said, and I can't remember the guy's name that is the director, but he came out and was like showing pictures and stuff, which is weird. But he was like showing pictures, and he was like, here's some pictures of what we're thinking. And they're going to make some DLC. Within a week, they're like, oh yeah. I mean, and they probably would have had DLC anyway, but this is actually hitting different because of how well this game is doing and how well it's received, and honestly, how good it is. And even though it's crashing ass, and I have every right to be like, this is stupid, let me return this, I hate this bullshit. No, I would suggest you play it. It's worth it still. If you are even halfway interested, it's a good game to play. And I would put a Dalorrian approved all over it. It's really good. But there are it's gonna be story DLC, a photo mode, of course, so that you can put your boob mods on Grace. You can do your mod where it takes off Leon's shirt and he's shirtless, and you can take photos of him and goon, whether you're a guy or girl, and put them on your, what is it, Rumble? No, that's the YouTube. What's the website where people put their stuff? That's gross. There's a lot of them I know. Why can't I think of it? It's like the cringy girl website. Tumblr, I think. Yeah. Does Tumblr still exist? I think Tumblr still exists. So yeah, you can take pictures of Grace and Leon and put them on Tumblr and write some fanfic about how you bang them or something. I don't know. But yeah, man, I mean, am I going to go back to this and play a DLC? I don't know. Let me finish the game first. Like me not beating the game yet, like in the first week. Can you believe it? I haven't beat it. Do I even want DLC? Like, do I care? I don't know. Like the story of Resident Evil, there is a story. It's Resident Evil 9. I'm not putting too much stock in like, oh, I need to know the story. I need to know Umbrella. I need to know everything that's going on. And I think that's why it's good too, because it's very approachable. All you need to know is there's a dude and zombies, and they're trying to do some horrible stuff. And Grace and Leon are trying to investigate and stop it, each in their own way. And yeah, and that's it. And that's all you need to know. And I'm sure that it's going to be a continued story. And if you want to get further into like, oh, this was the guy who was the first Umbrella scientist, and he is the reason that Chris Pratt or whatever, I don't know what, Chris Renfield, he's Chris Renfield's dad, and then the black lady was his lover. None of this is real. I'm just saying, dude, like, I'm sure there's lore there. I am not that big of a Resident Evil fan. Loved Resident Evil 4, played some of 2, tempted to play Remake 2 after playing this game. This does make me think, oh, I should go play those remakes. But, I've just kind of left Resident Evil where they are. But I've always enjoyed it, But it's not my favorite franchise by any means. And so I think for me, even though it's not a favorite franchise, it's not something I get hyped about. It's not something I look forward to. I think this is good. And I will say, like, I was totally right. When we were at Summer Games Fest and we were watching all the trailers, there were so many trailers. When we were watching all of them, I was like, dude, the best game coming out of this show is probably Resident Evil Requiem. And I don't even like scary games, or I haven't liked any of the Resident Evil games in the past like 10 years or something. And I was like, this is the game. This is like the game of the summer that I'm seeing. Crimson Desert had its own stage, and like they're growing that. And I think that I'm still on the fence. Like, is that going to be well received? Probably. If it's too janky though, I don't know. Looks good. But Resident Evil, I was like, yeah, this is the game that is going to be like, from the summer games that they showed, I was like, this is going to be like the big game of the year. I don't think it's not going to be like the game of the year. I said that in a really weird way. I don't think it's going to be game of the year. It'll probably win some game of the year awards. It'll win best horror, if that's like I think that's a thing. But it might win some awards. For sure. And it probably will be nominated for Game of the Year. So if you think, like, there's Resident Evil Requiem, there's Crimson Desert, who's probably going to be a pretty big contender if it comes out and does half as well as we expect. And then you're going to have GTA 6. That's your short list right there of Game of the Year. And I can't think of any other games coming out this year that are on that short list. Fable's probably not it. Hell, if nothing else comes out, they might throw Fable in there as like a pity play. But like Fable, I'm probably going to play Fable, but like, man, Fable, it ain't it, man. If Windrose came out this year, it would have a chance. That demo's blown up. That would have a chance. That might win. That might win like indie game. If it comes out, it's only a demo. Anyway, let's take a break. And then we'll go into some more news here. All right, we're back. Man, I tell you, it's allergy season. I have this cough going still, and like man, I tell you, it makes it hard to talk and do anything. I might have to put a humidifier in here, like a proper old person. Now that I'm done complaining with you, the strong, there's like it's called like the Strong Museum or something. Like there's like a video game museum in Rochester, New York, and they've been around since like 2015, and they are doing a excuse me, they do the video game Hall of Fame, essentially. So I think of this as like the WWE Hall of Fame, where they just look at the history of video games in the past 40 years or whatever, and they say, or longer than that, and they say, well, like what were the best games? And so like every year they have like inductees or whatever. And this year they have like a list. Like actually, let me see if I can find the whole list. We're not going to talk about all these, but let me go. There's 12 of them here. I'm just going to read them off, and then we'll kind of talk about some of them. Excuse me. Very sorry about the cough. I promise you, I will be done coughing at some point. I don't know how many weeks this is going to take, but Jesus. All right, here's the list. Ready? Angry Birds, Dragon Quest, FIFA International Soccer, Frogger, Galaga, League of Legends, Mega Man, Parappa the Rapper, RuneScape, Silent Hill, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and then this is one I don't know. Taki Meki Memorial. That's the only one I actually don't know. Came out in 1994. Wow. Anyway, man, like those are, they should probably all get in, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, look, we're talking like finalists, and it doesn't, I didn't read through all of it. I don't think it exclusively says like how many are they going to choose, like, or like is only one going to get in? I don't really know how they do this every year. But so sorry about the coughs. But I did see that, they've inducted like Golden Eye and things like that. I mean, this is a cool museum. I want to go to this museum, I would love to go here, and see this, see what's going on. And you can vote. There's like a player's choice, and ends on the 12th. You can go in and, which ones like should join the list or which one should be there or whatever. But yeah, like they're like Golden Eye's on there, Quake's on there, Tamagotchi's on there. These are the inducted games, and like let's see what else is on there. There's 9 games. Defender, that came out in the 80s. I don't know. Ultima, sure. SimCity, Myst, Resident Evil, the first one, right? Asteroids, The Last of Us, Wii Sports. Damn, dude. Hell yeah, to Wii Sports. Computer Space. This is something from like 1962. Damn, that thing looks crazy. I would love to see that. Barbie's Fashion Designer, Sid Meier's Civilization, Miss Pac-Man, Zelda Ocarina of Time, Dance Dance Revolution, Space Invaders, Grand Theft Auto 3, The Oregon Trail, Legend of Zelda, The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, Tetris, Super Mario Brothers, Pac-Man, World of Warcraft. I mean, look, it's every game, right? Doom, Pong, Final Fantasy 7. We're not going to read, like, I'm not going to read anymore. Name a classic game, and it's probably on the list. But I think what I want to do is, like, I'm going to take a few of these, and I'm going to tell you what my list will be. Like, if I had to choose, like, 1 or 2. So, like, maybe the top ones, like I remember playing Mega Man when I was a kid. And, platformer, side-scrolling shooter. I always like the idea that, like, you choose a boss to go beat, and then you get their, like, ability. You get their gun, you consume their gun, and then you go to the next level. And so, like, I think that's always been a really neat concept about Mega Man. And I feel like that whole concept of, like, beating a boss or an area and then, like, unlocking a new ability to then tackle the next area Dude, that has been carried forward in gaming like so much. And I don't know if Mega Man was the first one to introduce that, but maybe it was. Where like you clear this and then you get a new ability. Because like I think about other games that I played back in the day, like classic games, and like you got abilities because of like power-ups and stuff. So if you're playing like Galaga or Contra or something like that, or like you're going through the game, you get a power-up and you get an ability, or like even Mario, like, right? You got like the mushroom, you get bigger. So that just like doubles your hits, right? You get one hit, you die. You get bigger, you get 2 hits, you die, and then you're a little taller. And then you get the plant, and then you can, throw fireballs, right? But those are like just temporary power-ups, not like you just have this ability now. And yeah, and like, I mean, that's just core, like that is like such a throwaway core concept of gaming that you just do not think about that is in like every game. Like having your player get a new ability is now like in every game. And like, was Mega Man the first one to do that? I don't know. But it was one of the first ones to do it in an interesting way. Or like you consume your boss's ability and then like it changes like your little gun or whatever, like your hand gun, your hand cannon. So Mega Man, I mean, I wouldn't say like, yeah, dude, that's got to go in, but props. And I am interested to see what they do with the new Mega Man. That new Mega Man they're coming out with this year. I think it's this year. It does. I mean, I don't like, again, it's 2026, man. I'm done with platformers and stuff, and a lot of 2D games I'm kind of done with. But it looks sharp. It looks nice, man. It looks clean. It looks so clean. So it does look really nice. Skyrim, I mean, dude, like personal list, man. If I just had to be real with you about like hours spent, Skyrim probably has to be on that list. I mean, Skyrim is on my short list of like all-time favorites anyway. Skyrim is in my top 5, maybe top 3. And for me, when Skyrim came out, like that's when I started really PC gaming a lot. That's when I really started modding a lot. And for me, like Skyrim was an amazing game for what it was. But Skyrim was infinitely amazing because of all the mods you could do with it. And honestly, I try to mod a lot of games even in 2026. A lot of those mods break the freaking game. The modding community around Skyrim was next level. It was next level. I feel like modding now is so contentious and weird and like hard to keep up with, and there's so many updates and so many changes, and like there's like malware, and like you have to like watch out where you're getting your mods, and then there's like politics in the mods now, and then like you there's so many updates to the games, and so your mods can get broken, and then if you're not, depending on the game you're playing, you have a different crowd of modders, and like that depends like on how good your mods are, how many mods you have. Like when Skyrim was out, everybody was modding Skyrim. So you had the craziest quality of life mods. You had whole new maps and stories. You had combat mods, graphics mods. You had, and even like, I bet if I went to YouTube right now in 2026 and I Googled like, what are the best mods for Skyrim in 2026? I'd probably get a healthy return of actual legitimate mods for Skyrim. Modding in Fallout 4 and Starfield is now convoluted because it's like tied to the Creation Center, and like there's like a payment that you can make, and like Fallout 3 and 4 Fallout 4 was pretty good for modding too, but like it was starting to kind of degrade a little bit. It was kind of starting to like fall apart a little bit, and the communities were a little like starting to split. And you would say like, well, Dalorrian, people were modding all sorts of games back then. Yeah, dude, I know, but like Skyrim was like the game to mod compared to all, like it was hard to mod other games, and Skyrim was so popular at the time. It was kind of like for single player games, it was like the poster child for mods, like where World of Warcraft is kind of like the poster child for add-ons, which really aren't add-ons, just mods anyway. But you see what I'm saying? Like it was the peak to me of mods. And man, I remember like I had a YouTube channel back then, and I would just, dude, I'm by myself playing, and I would laugh, dude, at the mods. Like I would like go out into the fields of like Whiterun. I go out in the fields. And so I would like, I had my giants were super big. So like there's giants in that game in Mammoth. I would make my giants huge. I would make them like 3x the height, you know, in size or whatever. And so they're just like these massive beings. And so I'd go out there and I would spawn like 20 giants. Just throw them in the map. And then I would spawn like 40 dragons. And I would just watch them go. And then like, you know, I would just be sitting there watching this epic battle of giants and dragons play out. And it's like, this is the coolest shit I've ever done in my life. It was so entertaining. And I remember like Barathor. So if you don't remember Barathor in Skyrim, he's in Whiterun and he's like one of the shopkeepers, and he's like, everything's for sale. And that guy does like all the voices in the game, you know. He's in like, he does so much voice work for all of the Bethesda games. And he's like, I got a little bit of this, I got a little bit of that. Yeah, and he has a joke about like, I'd marry my sister, but she's my sister. I can't remember what his line is. But like, to this day, my wife and I will like quote freaking Benathor or whatever. So I have like a core memory of being in Skyrim. And I'm like out in the field or out in the road, and I spawn 100 Benathors. And they're all like, where are like, you know, they're going crazy. And then I just like, and then I go away and I go do something else, because like Skyrim is such an incredible sandbox game. I could do something else, and then I forgot that I did that. I forgot that I even did that. And then I remember going into Whiterun and going into his shop, and I'm like, this is taking a minute to load. Like, what's going on? And the game kind of chugging, and I get in there, and there's 100 Benathors in the shop, just stacked, like shoulder to shoulder. And I come in, and they're all like, welcome to the store. You know, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, right? Yeah, and like, so you could just, you know, you just have like these massive battles. If you just wanted to screw around in this game, you could just really screw around in this game. But then there was like, you know, there was like meaningful things you could do with skills and like, you know, textures, and you can put like, you can make your women beautiful. I mean, you could get a lot of crazy stuff in the game, right? You can do a lot of crazy stuff in the game. But you could, you know, put lightsabers in there. That's back before Star Wars was, you know, completely bankrupt and stupid. But, you know, Lord of the Rings, dude, I had all the Lord of the Rings weapons, you know, like I was running around with like, Glam Ring, and I had, shit, what is, Sting, you know, like, Frodo and Bilbo's sword, right? I had Sting, and like, it would glow, like when he got around, like, you know, like the goblins and stuff in that game, like it would glow, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And Legolas's bow and his like and his daggers, and I was like, man, this is so cool, because you could never really do that before, and it never like, and it would like not work, like it, but it worked. You could like mod it, and you didn't have to be like an expert, and you could do it like straight through the Steam store if you wanted, which was like really easy. And then you had like Nexus mods, and you could get crazier with it, but you could do like straight through the Steam store, man, and like you could just, man, play this freaking game. And so Skyrim for me, like that on that alone, I mean, like, yeah, the story, yeah, the world, yeah, like the missions and all the funny stuff that can happen, and like all that's all great too. But like my fondest memories are breaking that game and it's still working. And like, who doesn't love shouts? Shouts were so cool. Like if you don't remember, Fus Roda was a meme for like 15 years. And any people even that like didn't know games, I feel like understood that reference. And anytime you had somebody like falling over or like you want to like get rid of somebody or something, it would be a meme like Fusruda, and you like shout at them and like they just ragdoll like just off of mountains and stuff. It was so fun. And you know, I like to talk about Starfield a lot. I don't know why. Probably because I see the potential in it and I hate that it didn't get there. But like, you know, I think about Starfield and I'm like, there just wasn't like what was fun about Starfield? Like there, like I don't remember. Like you had abilities in Starfield like Skyrim, where like you could slow people down and do stuff or whatever. But it wasn't fun. It wasn't like approachable and like silly in a way that it should have been. It kind of took itself too seriously a little bit. Whereas Skyrim, like I think Skyrim tried to take itself seriously, but like the graphics and the jankiness of it did not allow it to be too serious. And I think they like I think Todd Howard and Bethesda accidentally made like the best game ever. And then Fallout's not supposed to be serious, so that worked because Fallout's supposed to have like kind of a stupid edge to it where like it's like very, you know, gruesome and violent and stuff. And so like that kind of worked with the jank because it's like kind of like Fallout is kind of a meme in its own way. Skyrim wasn't. Like it tried to play it straight, but it just had, the game was just silly in a way because it was just kind of barely working together that made it almost like it's a classic, but it's almost like a cult classic. If I had to compare it to like movies, it's like they like their intentions just like they like failed successfully almost to me. And like, and I'll say this, like, you know, I listen to different podcasters or like guys in the video game world who've been in there longer than me. They're older than me and they've been following the industry. They played more games than me. And they look at Skyrim and they're kind of like, shoulder shrug, you know? And so I do think it matters based on like, I think it matters me like kind of growing up with it, like being an adult, of course, but kind of like my experience of single player games and then like having a sandbox like that to go with, kind of growing up with it, right? And so like if I talk to someone who's 10 years my junior, they're probably not going to talk about Skyrim like I am. They're probably going to talk about like Minecraft. You know, they're probably going to talk about like, oh yeah, dude, I remember spawning in like 100 pigs and like blowing them up with TNT, and it was just like the funniest thing I've ever done. You know, like Skyrim is my Minecraft, I guess. Maybe that's like the best way to communicate it. So on this list, Skyrim goes into the Hall of Fame for sure. Next, Angry Birds. I get it. I get why like was it EA that bought Angry Birds for like billions of dollars or something? Like there's so many mobile games that these companies try to buy to like get into the mobile space. Like instead of making mobile games, it's like let's buy the mobile games and then we're gonna be in the space. You know, Microsoft did that, and like didn't they buy like Candy Crush or King or something? But like with Angry Birds, like that was a big deal. It spawned off movies, and so I get it. And everybody played Angry Birds. Like when Angry Birds came out, kids knew what Angry Birds was and they loved it. Old people and grandparents knew what Angry Birds was. It was just like the perfect phone game at the perfect time with the perfect like with where phones were technologically. It was a polished looking, fun physics game that just worked. And it was an easy concept. You take a bird, you throw it at the thing, try to blow it up, and you get different birds that do different things. And it was just simple and funny. It was a little funny. And everybody played it. Everybody played it. People that aren't gamers played Angry Birds. So it's like, you know, props to that. But you know, like I ain't played Angry Birds in a long time, and I don't see myself going back to it. Dragon Quest. So Dragon Quest, like I get Dragon Quest, like why you would want to induct that. There's been a billion games earlier. One of my first RPG games that I played with a save turn-based like that was Dragon Warrior, which is essentially Dragon Quest, I think. Like it was called Dragon Warrior in the States. Like, and I played it on Nintendo. My cousin had it. And you know, you're fighting blue slimes, you're going in caves and fighting dragons, and with the music and choosing to attack and everything, like it was intense. And I think like the way that Dragon Warrior and Dragon Quest worked, where like you're looking at your enemy, it doesn't show you, and then you make your decision. It's like it would make like it would make such satisfying noises. Like when you hit a slime, it's just a picture of a blue slime, and then it's just menus. But when you would hit it, it would make like these chunky noises, and it would have this like visceral music that you could, off of the sound alone, you felt like there was action happening. You could feel it through the sound alone, even though on the visual it was just a picture of a slime, and it would just like shake a little at the sound cue. And it just did interesting things. I think I remember like once your health got low, like your like the fonts turned from like white to red, and like nobody did that. And I think it was kind of a precursor to Pokemon. If I think about Pokemon, where like you see an image of like a Pokemon that you're fighting, and you have your Pokemon, and there's like you choose your attack and everything like that. That was kind of a precursor to that, which, you know, was a Dragon Quest was kind of a father in a lot of ways, in my mind, to turn-based games. And it probably wasn't the first one, and you know, there might have been better ones. I'm sure there's some like, oh, this was the first one, really. But I'm talking about like, it was one of the first games that kind of went kind of to the masses of like kind of turn-based, you know, that could reach me. I grew up like in the middle of the woods in the Southeast United States. And a video game is going to reach me. It has that kind of reach. Like I didn't have satellite TV until I was like a teenager. I had 3 channels. And so you get into the hands of a kid, this gameplay and this gameplay loop. I mean, that's a wide thing, you know, that it went out there, and like you would be able to experience that, me living out so far from civilization. You know, I'm sure in California and New York, it's like you got every game and you played a million different games. It's like, oh, maybe Dragon Quest was like one of 10. Or in Japan, you were like, nah, dude, we got 10 of these. So, you know, I think that's what it is. And I just want to, I'm paranoid now about Dragon Quest, because I want to make sure I'm talking about the right thing. Because there was also a game, I'm almost certain that I am. There was also a game called Dragon. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am talking about the right thing. There was also, I get confused because there was another game that I used to play on Nintendo. There was a dragon game, and it was called, there's no way I would ever find it. Yeah, see, I played Dragon Warrior, but there was a Nintendo game called Dragon. It wasn't Dragon Quest. I can't remember what it was called, but it was something like Dragon Quest. It was like Dragon Mission, Dragon my balls. I don't know. It was like something dragon, but like that game was, you were a dragon, and it was like one of the, like, I don't know how to describe it, like one of the games where you're just propelling, you know, like a space shooter, where like the screen's going and enemies are coming at you, and you have to like move and dodge them, and then you have to kill them before they kill you, and they float around you, and you have to clear the screen. But the game keeps moving. It's like, it wasn't a side scroller, but it was like a front scroller. It was like you're like looking down over the back of the dragon, and you're shooting fireballs, and you're like doing your fire, and like these things are coming at you, and you have to destroy them as you go, right? And that was called like Dragon something. And so like whenever I see Dragon Quest, and I grew up with Dragon Warrior, I'm always like, wait, was that Dragon Warrior, or was that the other Dragon game? But the other game I'm talking about wasn't as popular, I don't think so. Silent Hill. I mean, Silent Hill is so huge. I mean, I get it. I mean, I don't know if I played the first Silent Hill, but Silent Hill 2, I've talked about several times on the stream. I mean, Silent Hill 2 was the first game that I ever saw where you could look at yourself in the mirror. And that blew my freaking DeLorean mind. Like little DeLorean playing as like a 13-year-old or whatever I was. I was like, what the? I was like, that, first of all, that dude looks real. And I'm in this little bathroom, and I can see myself in the mirror and move around, and like see myself moving around in the world. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. And it was like, you know, at the time I was like, this is a graphical achievement. And it was. it was like Silent Hill was making waves. Resident Evil wasn't really making graphical like explosions like that, and then like Final Fantasy was like pushing, and then Grand Theft Auto was pushing, and the Silent Hill was like the one where I remember playing it. And I was like, that is a human, like that is a 3D, that is a dude, like that looks like a real dude. Like that's a real dude. I'm looking at a real dude in a video game. Like I remember that's like one of the first times I was like, whoa, that looks freaking good. Now I'm sure if I go back and watch like Silent Hill 2, PlayStation 2, or one, I think it was probably 1 or 2. I can't remember which PlayStation it came out on. Probably 2. I'd be like, I thought this was real, you know, like, but time, dude, it was next level. So I think there's space for that. I mean, these are all great titles. And then League of Legends. And you know, man, League of Legends, I don't play League of Legends anymore, but League of Legends was so big, dude. League of Legends, as far as a video game, was pretty much just, it wasn't as big as WoW. And what I mean by like we're not talking about money, right? Because you might say like, nah, dude, League of Legends made more money than WoW this year and that year. Okay, whatever. I'm talking about like culturally. Like that's how I gauge how big a game is like how many people did it reach? Can I talk to my grandparents about it and will they know what it is? Like, can I talk to a little kid? Will they know what it is? Like culturally, how wide of a berth does this thing have, you know? And with World of Warcraft having cultural revolution of games, I mean, Fortnite, I mean, Minecraft, I mean, these games are just crazy. League of Legends, I don't think League of Legends gets as widely like out there where I could go talk to like my father-in-law. I could be like, World of Warcraft, he'd be like, oh, that's that game, right? He'd be like, Minecraft, be like, that's that game. Fortnite, oh, that game. But if I said League of Legends, he'd be like, I've never heard of that. You know, he wouldn't know that, right? But with League of Legends, the niche that it was became so huge. And then you had Dota 2 that shared the space, like Coke, Pepsi, right? And with League of Legends, it like, for gamers, it took over. And I played League of Legends for like probably like 6 years. And it was such a highly competitive game that, you know, I got aged out of it pretty quick. But I would watch, dude, like, I don't watch competitive gaming. I've never watched like Call of Duty or Halo or Overwatch or any professional gaming. I've never really watched. But for a while there, I would watch like the League of Legends streams of like the seasons. And then I would try to watch like the main championships where they would have like the people in the stadiums and the big prize pools. Because Dota 2 and League of Legends for years, like, you know, like have like the biggest game prize of all time. And there was just kind of a culture around it. And I would keep up with the patch notes. I would read like the new characters. I was all in, you know. Even though like I knew I wasn't like that great. So I was like, you know, I can do jungle, I can support some, whatever. You know, just trying to find my lane to like get the highest strength that I could and really chased it as hard as I could. But I loved it so much that I would watch other people play it. And that was like the first and only competitive gaming I've ever watched. I'm never going to watch like people play Fortnite competitively, Arc Raiders competitively, Marathon competitively, or people even going to do that. I'm not going to watch that, but League of Legends was just enough strategy and chess and like, chess, like, you know, it's like a little bit, there's like strategy and skill to it that I understood in a way that like I could turn it on and be like, damn, that guy's good. You know, I could understand how good they were. And I feel like that game's very, like, if you understand the game, it's very easy to see the skill. Where is it, like, if you're watching somebody play Halo and they're just getting headshot after headshot after headshot, I played a lot of Halo, and like I can look at that and be like, man, there's some games I think I could do that. You know, and like they turn out like a 40 manger, and you're like, well, I don't know if I can do a 40 manger. But it's like, you know what, I can. It's still impressive. Like if you're like a top tier Call of Duty player, it's still impressive. But the layer of thinking and skill feels a little bit more singular. And I'm not saying that like if you're like a Warzone or Fortnite pro, I'm not saying that you don't have to have a strategy and you don't have to put in the reps. You absolutely do. But with League of Legends, there's so many variables that like it is, to me, it's just way more impressive to see people play on a team versus another team with different comps, different abilities, where everybody has a different kit. Everybody on the team has a different kit. They're all buying different items. They all have a different level at any time in the game. So they all have a different power level in the game. They all have different jobs to do. They all have different risks to take. Whereas, like, and I'm comparing it, like, if you play Warzone and you got 3 dudes on the team playing Warzone, they're on the team. I mean, they all kind of got the same loadout, and it's like did they get did you beat your guy off? Did you beat the other guy? You know, like their strategy, man. But it's, you know, it's pretty like I said, singular might be the word I would use. There's skill for sure. You know, Fortnite, you know, there's building and all that shit, and I think that's, I don't know if that's strategy. It's like I just need a wall so I can heal and like hide where I am, you know. But it's not like oh, I need to know what every character does. I need to read the patch notes and like I have to know exactly how much damage my opponent does based on the items they have, based on the buffs they have, based on the support they have, based on the level that they are. I need to have an idea and an estimate in my head of the math. If this guy hits me, like, I need to know how I need to react versus my kit and my defenses and my attacks. And like, am I going to win this? Am I going to throw it? Like, can I go in on this guy based on who I am and who he is, and like who, like based on like who I know persistently, who I know could be around him to help him? Because if I know there's a support that has a certain ability that can bail him out, if I go in at the wrong place or if I'm overextended, I'm screwed. Like it is. There's so much going on that it impresses me. Not only like, are you quick with your buttons and your skill and like your mouse and all that stuff, but like do you, like, you have to know the game. And so with League of Legends, like I just got obsessed with it because of all of that, because of the depth of the game. And you know, so I guess like we've been talking about this for a while. We've been talking about this for a while. But I think for me, if I had to choose 2 inductees, it's Skyrim and League of Legends off of this short list. League of Legends, man. I have a story that like how I talk about like League of Legends saved my life. I've talked about it on several streams. It wasn't like I was on drugs and like League of Legends got me out of drugs. But there was a fire that my neighbor had. I was living in an apartment with my wife, and there was a fire, and it was a mother and a son and a dog, and the dog didn't make it. But they were, it was late at night. It was like probably 1 o'clock in the morning or something. And the mother had left something and caught fire. And so I was into like a 40-minute game of League of Legends. And, you know, I was in my 20s and I was living in Nashville, Tennessee. And, you know, as a man and you're a gamer, or you have any interest like this where like you look at it, it's like kind of a waste of your time, you know, like you could be argued it's a waste of your time, and you're staying up really late. It's like, well, you know, I should probably be sleeping and going to the gym and like looking for a better job or studying or doing something productive. You know, my wife's working, I'm doing, you know, we're trying to like figure this out. There can be like a lot of like guilt, or there can be like a lot of like, you know, regret, especially with League of Legends, because League of Legends can make you feel worse than any game, because you can go into a game like, I'm just going to play one game. It can go to an hour, and you can be doing good the whole time. You can be doing like your team can be doing great, and then somebody goes AFK at like minute 50, and then you spend an hour, and then you lose the game. And that can be one of the most frustrating things. Or your team can throw, they can get mad at you, and they can start throwing. It was very frustrating, right? Very toxic. And so you get to the end of like an hour game, and you think to yourself, this is a waste of time. You're raging out. You're like, what the hell? Like, it's so easy to get tilted. Like, But it's so easy, just like, I'm just going to queue up one more. And so, I had a lot of guilt playing that game and even streaming that game. Back in the day, I used to stream that, and I had a decent little following at the time. And I'm playing a game, and it's like a 40-minute game, and the last thing you want to do if you're like a real League of Legends player is like go AFK or quit. Like you were like locked in. You can't play League of Legends if you're a dad or have dependents. You can't really find it's hard to find like a lot of hours where like you can lock in and not walk away. You can't pause the game, baby. League of Legends, you cannot pause the game. If you go away for 5 minutes, it's very hard to recover. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, it's hard to recover. You got to be locked in for the whole time. And so that's why it gets really hard as you get older and you have more responsibilities. Anyway, about the incident. So, lady catches someone on fire. So I'm playing a game and I'm like upstairs and I'm playing on a wall that is again so it's like a town hall. It's an apartment, but like our one of our walls is like connected to their apartment and then it's like to the edge of the building. So I'm playing like at the edge of the building, and I'm playing and like I smell smoke and I look up and I see smoke like kind of like billowing above me a little bit. And then my first reaction, and I hate this, my first reaction is like I was kind of pissed at my wife because she was asleep, and I was like, what the hell did she leave on the, what did she, she left something in the oven? Like, what the hell? So I go downstairs and I go immediately to the kitchen, and like downstairs was like, it's just like smoke, and I go to the kitchen and I'm like, I look at the oven and the stove and there's like nothing going on. And so I say, where's this coming from? And then I look up at the vents and I'm like, this is coming through our freaking vents somehow, I don't know how our AC was connected, but like it was coming into our apartment through the vents. So I go upstairs and I try to be as calm as I can. I tell my wife like, hey, we have to get up. We have to go outside. There's a fire somewhere. Don't freak out. We got to go though. Put on some shoes or something because it was freezing outside. It was like winter and it was freezing outside. It was so cold. And so, so we go outside and then, smoke, pull the fire alarm. And then, we're like, okay, we got got the fire department coming, got the fire alarm. And then go to the door. I can hear like the lady coughing. And I'm like, okay, do I go in? I'm not a fire department guy. Another guy comes up. And then basically we decide like kicking the door. And then by this time, people were like, with the fire alarm going off, people were like emptying their apartments at this point. The neighboring building, people start emptying, start drawing a crowd, and kicking the door, and go in and get drag the lady out, because she was like on the ground at this point. The kid, he was probably like let's call him like a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, somewhere in there. Pull him out. He's in a twilight. He's like this. He's like, just not responding. His eyes are open, they're glassy, and it's like this kid's. The lady was pretty much passed out, but like she was still, And then so I'm calling 911. My wife's a nurse. She's like, trying to she has no tools really to do anything here. She's like, he just has to breathe. Let's just try to get his attention, tell him it's okay. If he can even hear us, he's like, So, and then the lady's like she's like over there and still kind of near the door, but she was like a big, heavier lady. Then this one lady walks up and is like, puts her hands in there, is like praying, and doing all, she said, I don't mind, but it does kind of stress everybody out, But, hey, yeah, it's all good. And so I call 911. I'm like, y'all got to get here now. Like, dude, we got this kid and he is not responding. And so they eventually get there and, get him and we're just out, and like I can't even remember, I guess when the fire department got done with their part, I guess we went back into our apartment and went to sleep. We were too broke to go stay at a hotel. We were so broke at that time. We were too broke to be like, let's take, $100 and go stay at a hotel or, whatever. And I think we had a dog at the time. Maybe we didn't, but I think we just went in at early morning and went back to sleep. And then throughout, and then we just stayed there, with just smoke damage to our apartment, just trying to clean it as best as we could. the apartment complex would not put us in a new unit. It was a whole thing. And we didn't get legal because we couldn't afford it. But we survived. And why did we survive? We survived because of League of Legends. Because had I not stayed up too late to play League of Legends, my wife and I would have died of smoke inhalation. Easily. Because there was already enough smoke for us to have significant damage. Had we both been asleep and doing what you're supposed to do, where it's like you go to sleep early, you get up and grind and fucking go to the gym, and then you go to your 8 to 5 and do this whole thing. Had we have been doing that, we would have died. We were very close to dying. And like the way that the apartments were laid out is, like by the time people would have gotten to the fire alarm, I don't think we probably wouldn't have been burned up, because it wasn't like, I don't think the fire was massive in their apartment. Like the lady had left something on the stove, and I think her kitchen was on fire, but it was just putting out enough. Like her oven was like on fire. It was probably like a decent burn, but it was just putting out so much smoke that like that lady, like we were like friending them on Facebook, and like they were in the hospital for a while recovering, you know. Like they were in ICU recovering from the smoke inhalation that just damaged them so bad. Like I said, they had a little fat dog, and it totally died from the smoke. Totally did. And so if we would have just, if I would have been asleep, and let's just assume that the fire would have continued to rage without us leaving our apartment, without somebody pulling a fire alarm, without that setting in motion, if we would have been asleep for, let's call it like 5-10 more minutes, like if we were like 5-10 more minutes, I think we would have died of smoke inhalation. We would have died in our sleep, which would have been cool. That would be like, I mean, if you had to die, that's probably the most chill way to die. But we were like in our mid 20s. We probably were 25. We were probably both 25 at the time. And that would have sucked to die. Our families would have been very sad. Our friends would have been very sad. But we would have been together, so I guess that's cool. But yeah. So I always, when I think of League of Legends, I think I'm thankful for my gamer brain and my procrastination and my horrible discipline, because it was the Lord in League of Legends, man, is the only reason we're alive. And the only reason that the lady and the boy survived, because they would have died before us, surely. So it didn't just save our lives, it saved their lives as well. And they probably don't know that. But you know, that's my story, man. This podcast is going to be so long from this story or whatever. There's one more thing I didn't want to talk about. We won't talk about it long because, like, you know, this is getting long. But Fortnite is raising its prices on V-Bucks, dude. Can you believe this shit? Can you believe this? The bonus rewards are going to be reduced. And I mean, essentially, Fortnite's just saying, like, yeah, we got to pay the bills, man. Like, it ain't enough. Like, maintaining this live service game with all these IPs and stuff, like, we gotta increase, you know, and everything just keeps going up. Let's see if I can look. V-Bucks going up. I don't have this handy. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So here's here's how much it's gonna be here. Okay, here's what's changing. An $8.99 pack. Okay, so $9. So you're gonna pay that with tax. You're gonna get let's call it like $9.78 or something like that. If you paid $9, you would get 1,000 V-Bucks. And you know, most stuff in Fortnite is like, you know, rounded up to like 500 and 1,000, and I think some of the dances are like 100 and emotes are like 100, but like a skin might be 500, a pack of skins and items might be like 1,000 or 2,000. You know, I think 5,000 will get you like a bundle of skins and weapons and emotes and music and dances. Like typically when they have a bundle of like we're coming out with our Ninja Turtle bundle, you know, you pay 5,000 V-Bucks, you're gonna get the bundle, right? And maybe have some left over. So yeah, you're gonna lose 200 V-Bucks for $9. So you're losing like two emotes. You're losing that, and then so a $22, you get a $22 pack, $22.99. That used to get you 2,800 V-Bucks. Now it's going to get you 2,400. Your $36, $37 pack used to get you a sweet 5,000 V-Bucks, and I think that would probably, if I had to guess, I bet that pack is probably like the most popular pack because there's like a discount to it where you give me $37 because like a V-Buck is almost, I mean, shit. Now it's a V-Buck is almost like $1 per 100 V-Bucks, like almost. Now it's less. Now it's like $1 is hell, I guess $1 is like 80 V-Bucks. And that doesn't get you a dance. That doesn't get you anything. Like you can't, if you give them $1, you get 80 V-Bucks, you can't get anything. It used to be you give them $1, you get 100 V-Bucks, you can get like something, right? So like let's just think about it that way. So the more you pay, the more you get, right? So it's like $36.99, you get 5,000 V-Bucks. That's going to set you up pretty good. That is your classic grandma's going to get me the gift card for Fortnite. It's going to be, it's going to give me 5,000 V-Bucks. I can go in, I can buy my John Wick skin and the bundle, my Terminator bundle or whatever the kids buy, or Rome Michelle or whatever. I don't know what these musicians are. But now, so instead of 5,000, you're going to get 4,500. You're gonna get 4,500 instead. So you're gonna lose 500 out. So you're losing like a almost a skin, like a discounted skin, or a song. If you do the song thing, like it's 500 per song to save a song. If you do like the Guitar Hero thing, $89.99. If you're dropping $90 on Fortnite, if you're just throwing your slong out there because you want to just be rich in Fortnite money, that used to get you 13,500 V-Bucks. That now gets you 12,500 V-Bucks. So you lose a full 1,000, which is like $10. Used to be. So, yeah. Yeah, and then the exact amount pack. So it says like 50 cents for 50 V-Bucks is what it was. Damn, so it doubled. Like if you want to get the exact amount, it doubled. So it used to be, you give me 50 cents, I'll give you 50 V-Bucks. Now it's, you give me 99 cents, you give me $1 and I'll give you 50 V-Bucks. So you were just throwing your money away if you just buy $1 V-Bucks. You're like halving the value of your dollar basically. Well, not, you know what I mean, the translation to it. So like, you're not buying V-Bucks without spending like $9. And even then, now you're probably going to feel a little shafted because you're going to be like just under 1,000. Now you get 20% back in Epic rewards if you buy through the Epic Game Store, right? If you do like Epic rewards, so maybe more people will do that. The Battle Pass will now cost 800 V-Bucks and award 800 V-Bucks for completing it. Previously, it cost 1,000. You would earn 1,000 plus 500 in bonus reward. So it used to be the Battle Pass. So they're going to finagle it to where like you would spend 1,000 V-Bucks and you would get 1,000 back if you completed it. Plus we'll throw you 500. Plus we're going to throw you 500 just to cap you for playing our game that much. Now it's like, you know what? It's going to cost you less on the front end. It's going to be 800 per Battle Pass. But you're just going to make your money back and we ain't comping you shit. So yeah. I'm trying to see like the music pass is cheaper. Lego pass is cheaper. I was trying to see if they had like a song price, if that was going to update. I don't think anybody's really doing that. I mean, like I said, I'm doing Rockman 4 now, and Rockman 4 is, if you can get that set up, as hard as it is, if you can get that set up, it's cheaper to buy songs on there. But yeah, man, so that's Fortnite. Just another one bites the dust, bro. Just another thing you can look at our economy and the war and the world that we live in and be like, we get screwed again. And it's like, man, wouldn't it be nice if there was a win anywhere? Would it be nice if like McDonald's came out and was like, you know what, man, we're like, you can have like, if you buy a Big Mac, you get one free for like a year. Like, we're just going to run that. We're just going to run that. I know we're going to eat costs, but like, what we're going to take the chance that we'll just make our money back or show good. And they're not going to do that. But like, and that's probably a bad example. I'm just saying, like, wouldn't it be nice if anything got cheaper? Wouldn't it be nice if there were any deals? Wouldn't it be nice if there was anything that came out positive? And maybe there is. I mean, apparently they're curing cancer with ivermectin now or something. I got to go look at that. There's some CIA files or something. But I've seen that online. I've seen so many people online, like old people that like don't even know how phones work now. Working like, oh man, I was gonna die at stage 4, and my buddy got me some ivermectin. I started taking it like once a week, and then I'm cured now. I've been seeing that enough to know, like, if I ever got the big C, I would start ivermectin immediately. Because what do you got to lose, bro? Even if you look at those videos, you're like, oh, these people are just bullshitting for likes. Which it ain't ever somebody that it's never like it's never that guy. It's never that lady or guy that's like, I want to be internet famous. I need it. Like, I need this. They're just like, I'm turning this on because maybe it'll help somebody. It's always that. And I believe those every time. And maybe I shouldn't. But I don't know, man. Ivermectin. And then there's that other one, finbenzin. I don't know. There's so many drugs. Finbenzanol or something. I don't know if that's like a dog pill. I don't know. I'm going to go take some dog pills. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, everybody. This is kind of a long one. But, you know, we had a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. So I appreciate your time. If you have any comments, regrets, questions, corrections, maybe I said some bullshit that was wrong, you can always reach out at DalorrianTV@gmail.com. You can always comment on YouTube on these. You can comment on Spotify or anywhere you're listening to this podcast, which it should be everywhere. You can reach out in the Discord. You can always come out of the Discord and come in there and talk some trash. It's pretty wide open. You can just do eggplant emojis all day, every day, and we will love you for it. But yeah, feel free to reach out, and we'll talk to you next week. The following week, I think, is when I go out of town. So we may, next week we'll have an episode. The following week, we may not. But if you come to the Discord or whatever, you'll see me live on TikTok recording some stuff. I don't know if I'll upload any of that as a podcast. Maybe I just get on my phone and record something and it sounds shitty. And we just release that as a podcast. I don't know. Let me know if you care. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're like, nah, dude, I need an episode. Yeah, do it on your phone. Put it on your Discord. I just need to hear you. I don't know. Or you might be like, nah, man, take a break because I kind of need one. Anyway, love you guys. I hope you have a great week. I'll see you.